Sarah Ferguson has announced that she's been diagnosed with an aggressive form of skin cancer in yet another shocking health update from the royal family. The Duchess of York has thanked well-wishers and medical staff for the support that she's been given while she recovers at home with family. It's her second cancer diagnosis within a year, having had a mastectomy last summer after being diagnosed with breast cancer. Joining me in the studio now is TalkTV's royal editor, Sarah Hewson. Good to see you, Sarah. And down the line, we're joined by NHS GP, Dr. Philippa Kaye. Thanks for joining us, Philippa. Let's talk. I think we'll talk about royals first, and then we'll come to the medical side of it. So, gosh, this is something, isn't it, to have all this going on in one family at once? But I suppose it's what's going on in families all across the nation, isn't it?
It's a third medical update regarding a member of the royal family in, at less than a week.
Yes.
So last night it emerged that Sarah Ferguson, Duchess of York, has been diagnosed with skin cancer, malignant melanoma, a very aggressive form of skin cancer. She says it has been caught because of the vigilance of her dermatologist. When she underwent reconstructive surgery, they requested some moles were removed. One of those was melanoma. Their hope is that they've removed the cancer with the mole, but she's undergoing further tests to try and establish whether she does need further treatment. You can see that's her Instagram post, a photograph she posted of herself in Austria. She'd been to a clinic there to spend some time recuperating after the news. We last saw her on Christmas Day at Sandringham, and it was just a few days after that she was told she had this cancer, and she said it was very distressing, but that she's in good spirits.
Yes, I mean, I've met her many times, and I always think she's she's kind of a jolly good sort, isn't she? She's trying to be nice, and she's trying to do the right and likeable thing. And in this instance, you can see that it is really a very private thing. You know, you're having your breast removed and reconstructed. That's a very personal and private thing. Something else is found and is removed. That's a very personal and private thing. But isn't she doing a jolly good job at making it public so that other people
Well, she's talked about her reconstructed breast. She calls it Derek, I believe. And she's done a lot. She spoke very publicly about her breast cancer diagnosis because that came about because she went for screening. She went for a mastectomy. She almost didn't go because she was busy at the time, and she went, and then it was picked up. And so she's really talked about the need to go for regular screening. And in this case, again, she wants to use her circumstances to get the message out there that if you have any concerns about any changes to a mole, any concerns at all, get yourselves checked out, because, of course, early diagnosis is really, really important.
Right. Let's bring in Dr. Philippa Kaye. Dr. Philippa, how usual or unusual is it to be have a patient who's, on the operating table for one operation and one procedure, and see something else that makes the medical team think, oh, hang on, goodness, we really need to check out that at the same time?
It does happen, and it's obviously very difficult for patients who are sort of overwhelmed with one diagnosis, that we think of something else or that we see something else. But that's one of the reasons why you go to the doctor, and let's say, I don't know, we're listening to your chest, and we're as we put that stethoscope on, I'm going to be checking your skin at the same time. That we're always looking from the moment that we shake your hand, and we're looking at your nails to see what signs of things that you might know that you have, you might not know that you have, and so that's why, it's one of the reasons why you go. But really importantly, that everybody can check their own skin, the bits that they can see, obviously, and have somebody check the bits that they can't, because moles do and sometimes do change. And malignant melanoma is a kind of skin cancer that can spread to other parts of the body. And we're often asked, how am I going to know if something's changing? And I would recommend that people use the ABCDE rule. A is for asymmetry, that a mole, you should be able to essentially fold it in half, that it would be symmetrical. And if it isn't, it needs to be checked. B is for the border, that the border should be nice and smooth. And if the border becomes very ragged, or it looks like one part of the mole is growing off in a different direction, that needs to be checked. C stands for colour. If a mole has two or more colours, it needs to be checked. D for diameter. A malignant melanoma is unusual in a mole under 6 millimetres, but it can occur. And E is for evolving. If it is changing, if it is growing, if it suddenly becomes itchy or crusty or bleeding, you have to get checked out. And as we always say, it doesn't mean that you have a cancer. It means that you have a sign that needs to be checked out.
So now this mole of the Duchess's was removed during the surgery and it was sent off to the lab to see what was going on. And they've discovered that one of these moles is a malignant melanoma. So obviously we hope that it has all been excised by the surgery and that she's going to be fine and that she's not going to need any follow-up treatment. But in general cases, obviously we don't know exactly what's going on with the Duchess, nor should we. But in general cases, what is likely to happen next if it is discovered that somebody does have that condition?
Quite often actually, even during the excisional biopsy, you wouldn't cut out, a bit of a mole. In order to see what was going on, you're likely to cut out the whole mole. And often, whilst the melanoma might be found on that biopsy, you've got what we call clear edges or normal margins, that you've taken the whole of the cancer and some of the healthy skin around it, because there might be microscopic bits that you can't see. If it comes back saying you haven't quite got it all, you might need a slightly bigger surgery to remove it. And if there are further investigations that show that it has spread to different parts of the body, then other treatment might be needed. And that would include radiotherapy, sometimes chemotherapy, sometimes immunotherapy. But of course, we hope that it's caught early. But if there is one thing to be said here, aside from checking your body, it is that we need to be sun safe, because the majority of cases of malignant melanoma are related to sun damage, be that from being out in the sun or from a sunbed. So it's really important that everybody wears high factor, broad spectrum sun cream, irrespective of the color of your skin, and that we try and avoid sunbeds and we stay safe and in the shade in the middle of the day.